clean water here in Pearl City. Why don't we all introduce ourselves? I'm Hillary Tamas, and I'm the lead microbial engineer. We're so happy you applied for the job of water quality engineer.
Hello, I'm Riley Rogers, and I'm a water resources engineer.
Hi, I'm Paul Wagner. Thanks for interviewing me today. I am very happy to be here.
How was your flight to the Philippines?
It was great. The city of Manila has become really beautiful. This is my first trip to Pearl City, and this city is amazing.
So, Paul, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
I got my bachelor's degree in microbiology and my master's in water resource engineering. I worked in a water treatment facility in Puerto Rico and then heard about an opening here. I have done a lot of research on your company. I love your acronym, Pure Clean Water.
Yes, pure clean water stands for potable, unpolluted, reusable, energy efficient, clear, life-sustaining, economical, accessible, natural water.
So Paul, tell us about your job in Puerto Rico.
I was in charge of water quality management. I had to take samples of the water hourly to meet the WHO standards.
That sounds comparable to the position we have here. So now we'd like to ask you a series of questions.
Sounds great.
What do you know about the engineering design process?
The engineering design process starts with identifying the problem. Your problem was river pollution. Next, we learn the specifications, brainstorm solutions, design, test, and finally implement and share the idea. Civil and water resource engineers composed of a plan to clean your rivers to provide clean drinking water.
That's right. Our biggest threat to our water supply has been pollution, both from industrial dumping and from impoverished waters and families that lived on the river's edge and disposed of all their waste into the river. Strict laws were enacted to stop the dumping, and new infrastructure was built to provide a citywide garbage system for proper waste disposal. What have you learned from your research about the laws Pearl City and the greater Manila area have implemented?
I know the Pasig and San Juan rivers were declared biologically dead more than a century ago. The government implemented fines for industrial dumping. Homeless squatters were relocated to temporary homes and were given jobs. In addition, all petroleum-based products were banned. Is that correct?
Yes, instead of petroleum-based packaging, we have created alternatives like mycelium, bamboo, and Marinatex packaging to reduce plastic pollution in our rivers.
I have never heard of Marinatex. What is that?
Marinatex is a bioplastic made out of fish skin and scales. It is used for all single-use packaging needs.
The new infrastructure that the government implemented in all homes, businesses, and industries was pneumatic garbage tubes that carry waste directly to the materials recovery facility.
After implementing these changes and building the infrastructure, the rivers have been revitalized and are healthy again.
Now you get all of your water from the newly cleaned rivers.
Yes, this pipe to Pearl City through carbon nanotube piping to our water treatment facility. Our first step for purifying is bioremediation. What have you learned about this from your research?
Your company has created a cutting-edge technology in bioremediation with tardigrades.
Yes, and we have one here. Tell us what you know about her.
Tardigrades are microorganisms that can withstand harsh conditions and are difficult to destroy. Yours are genetically modified to be female microorganisms that reproduce asexually and eat toxins, heavy metals, pathogens, pesticides, and petroleum-based products.
Tardigrade and bacteria are the first steps. We use a variety of different bacteria to break down various pollutants. They all add to the water supply.
The bacteria we use eat the heavy metals, toxins, pesticides, and petroleum-based products as well.
Next comes coagulation, flocculation, followed by sedimentation, filtration. Sand filters and activated carbon filter out any of the remaining solids.
The tardigrades get removed with a sledge and are used as agricultural fertilizer. Lastly comes UV radiation to kill any bacteria left in our water.
Do you have any specialized storage facilities for the water before it is distributed to the residents?
Yes, we have underground storage tanks for the treated water, as well as underground cisterns for the water we've collected from our permeable roadways that also get sent to the water treatment facility.
In addition, each building has its own storage facility for the water generated from the hydrogen microgrids that provide power to the whole building.
That would take a lot of hydrogen to power every building in the city. Where do you get your hydrogen?
We get it from the methane hydrates found deep in the Benham Rice Trench off the coast of the Philippines.
I know that process. We use it in Puerto Rico as well. The methane is bubbled up through a metal alloy catalyst that breaks methane down into pure carbon and hydrogen.
We use the hydrogen to power the city, as well as all of our vehicles. The carbon is used in the building industry, and we activate some of the carbon to use in our water treatment facility.
Well, Paul, you seem highly qualified for this job. Do you have any questions for us?
What risks and trade-offs have you encountered in your water treatment program?
The main trade-off was the cost and time of implementing the new infrastructure, but the benefits of clean water from a revitalized river outweigh the costs.
The main risk was damage from natural disasters, but our carbon nanotube piping is earthquake and typhoon resistant due to its flexibility.
We would like to offer you the job as lead water quality engineer.
When would you like me to start?
You can start next month.
Do you have any recommendations for where I should live?
I'd recommend living in the residential district right here. All of our apartments are made out of bamboo and are platinum level LEED certified and earthquake and typhoon proof.
What are these buildings right here?
These are our vertical aeroponic gardens, which have the capacity to feed all 50,000 people on our island.
What modes of transportation can I use to get around the city?
You can use the hover bus, hover cars, and kinetic energy bikes. If you want to travel to the mainland, you can ride in the Hyperloop or take a ferry.
The Hyperloop connects Pearl City to Vietnam, Japan, the mainland, and our other islands.
What recreational activities do you recommend?
We have an all-purpose Pac-Man Stadium on our sister island. You probably know Pearl City is a quadruple island system here in Manila Bay with a population of around 200,000.
You can catch a movie at the famous Pearl City 7D Theater where you can feel all senses, movement, and emotion. There's also the Pearl City Scuba Diving Center.
I love scuba diving.
Well, you'll be excited to know that Pearl City's biomedical engineers designed a cutting-edge technology of nanobots, which are injected into the scuba diver's bloodstream so they can swim up faster into higher elevations without getting the bends.
That sounds fabulous.
Biomedical engineers also create state-of-the-art 3D orbital limb printers that use stem cells. We also inject nanobots into the bloodstream to prevent pathogens and cancer cells. Our average lifespan has increased to 102 with all these medical advancements.
Does Pearl City offer free healthcare?
Yes, we offer free healthcare and education, which causes our taxes to be higher. But the citizens seem very happy living here and don't mind the higher taxes.
Well, Paul, I can't wait for you to join our team here at Pier Queen City. I know you're going to love living in the Pearl of the Orient.
I can't wait to start.
Cheers to pure clean water.
So this one, we're gonna ask questions.
Okay.
So then, just gonna start off here. Awesome, my question goes back to bioremediation because I'm really interested. So you're using tardigrades and bacteria. Did you think about using any other microorganisms?
We did take that into consideration, but we did some research and we realized that the bacteria that we use, such as we have riboflavin, pseudomonas, mycobacteria, and nocardia, we did some research and realized that those are the most futuristic and they do the most damage to the pollution, so they'll eat as much pollution as possible, as well as the tardigrades.
We wanted to use a really resilient microorganism, and tardigrades are one of the most indestructible ones. They're very hard to kill, and they'll help eat all of our toxins in our water supply.
We also reproduce our tardigrades asexually, which is basically them just copying their DNA cells, so we do not have to genetically modify them again and over and over again.
And with the breed of tardigrade we are using Heterotardigrada. They tend to already reproduce asexually, so that's a benefit for our water supply.
Excellent job. Excellent job. So let's talk a little bit about the process that you went through in this whole program. When you had disagreements about what to do or how to make the model or all of the different decisions that you had to make, how did you come to consensus on some of those things? How did you work?
One of the disagreements we had was choosing our problem to our water supply. We had many ideas such as pollution, drought, and global warming, but we decided to go with pollution. We voted on it and decided to go with pollution due to the fact that pollution will cause more environmental problems for our rivers, and if we don't have a clean water supply, it'll be very harmful to our water treatment.
We also weren't sure if we wanted to include the canal in our model because we were going to have water in it, but we decided not to just in case any damage happened to any of our model. Any of the disagreements that we had, we worked out by collaborating and voting.
Then our first disagreement and our most important one was where to place the city. So originally we had many different options, such as here in the Philippines. We also wanted it in Indonesia and Africa and Puerto Rico, but we ultimately settled on the Philippines, specifically Manila, because we knew that there are two main rivers, the Pasig and San Juan rivers. They've been biologically dead since the 1990s. So we really wanted to help the residents out there to provide clean drinking water.
Regarding your water system, what is the biggest risk to your water system, and what have you done to ensure that that your residents can continue receiving water?
So one of our big risks is natural disasters like typhoons and earthquakes. But our carbon nanotube piping is resistant to that, and if it does end up breaking, we can send somebody in there to go fix it.
Another major risk was the cost and time to build all of it, which is a trade-off, but it also factors into the risk because it's going to be very expensive and very time-consuming, but the benefits of clean water to not get diseases definitely outweigh the risk.
So in the beginning of your presentation, you said that when you were building the city, you decided to temporarily move the squatters to other housing. So since the conceptualization of your city, what have you done to eradicate the issues of homelessness?
We have temporary houses for vulnerable populations, and we also have free healthcare and education and free job trainings, so that way impoverished people can get back on their feet and move to more permanent homes.
So for the homeless squatters and poor people, we wanted the rivers can cause them to get many diseases such as typhoid fever, cholera, and dengue fever. So we really wanted to move them so we wouldn't have as much diseases caused by the rivers, and also they can get in the way of the water.
Whenever we were moving them, a lot of them were definitely sick, so the free healthcare definitely did help, along with the free housing that they all got until they got on their feet and were able to pay for themselves.
And since the Pasig and San Juan rivers are biologically dead, you name it, there's anything in there, ranging from animal carcasses to human carcasses to just plastic pollution.
Your city has many ambitious projects like eradicating homelessness and free healthcare. What industries drive your city to make sure people are able to pay those high taxes?
Our leading industry in Pearl City is our computer manufacturing. They manufacture all of our smart appliances, our hover vehicles, and everything electronic in our city. And we are able to export some of them as well.
We also have our carbon manufacturing center where we manufacture the carbon into carbon nanotube fibers, which can help distribute materials to all the different buildings. We can also manufacture it into the activated carbon for the water treatment facility.
We also have the Hyperloop, which we are able to transport our exported goods through that, along with the ferry to Stanley Mountain.
Then we also have our bamboo manufacturing plant where on top of all buildings we grow bamboo, and as well as our vertical gardens, because that is one of the leading industries in the Philippines.
What issues do you foresee as your population continues to grow?
One that we did see was space, because obviously this is a man-made island, so we can expand on it, but we build up in order to conserve space for our residents.
Another problem we see with our population growing is the food supply and demands. So for that reason, we have many different vertical aeroponic gardens, and each of them has enough food to feed 500,000 people a day. So that's a big advantage for us having 5 aeroponic vertical gardens.
As our population grows, so will the water demand. So we have many also backup water supplies, such as the water we get from our hydrogen microgrids, wastewater, and desalination as alternative water sources.
You mentioned that people live a lot longer in your city because it's healthier and whatnot. Can you talk to some of the social implications of having an aging population?
So for having an aging population, that reason is because of our many different medical advancements, such as our 3D organ and limb printers, as well as the nanobots that can eat disease-causing pathogens. And basically, in our city, take cancer, for example. That'll be like the present-day flu. It'll be gone very quickly because of all the nanobots that'll eliminate all the diseases.
But what social structures do you have in place to assist seniors in like a senior lifestyle? Are they working? What are they doing? What are your seniors doing in general?
Our seniors can pick what they want to do. If they want to relax and go off their retirement funds, they can, along with exercising in the park, going to all of our classes for yoga and just exercising. And they also can still work at their job if they want to, but it's up to them completely.
Then we also have a senior center located in our city right here that allows all seniors to go there, and they can take classes, and they can teach the young while the young can teach them as well.
We want to make sure in our city that our seniors do stay pretty active, so that's why we offer many recreational activities for them.
And we want them to feel very important.
Okay, so that's time for questions and answers. Now is time for feedback. And we'll pick up on questions with Will on the next round. So let's open it up for feedback.
I remember one of the biggest, basically, criticisms I had for you guys was you guys didn't think about the what ifs. So in case your pure clean water system fails, what happens? Or what if this happens? And what I really like is that you really took that criticism to heart, and really when you were answering the questions, I felt that you had really thought about things, and there wasn't really a part where you just like gave up or thought that you couldn't answer a question. Likewise, I think that you did a much better job sharing the question and answer time.
Thank you.
Can't really think of anything else to say. You have improved on all of that from the last round.
One of my comments would be don't rush in terms of the responding to answers. If you didn't know something, just take a deep breath, get your thoughts together, give an opportunity to get your thoughts together. You mentioned riboflavin that's not up there, but anyway, just make sure that you're prepared to answer those questions, but don't rush to answer those questions.
Okay.
I loved the skit.
Thank
That's
you.
what's gonna set this presentation apart. It was really well done, it was thoughtful. You really addressed the engineering process, which is really something that a lot of teams don't do. So, and that's one of the main, we score on that, so that was really, really good. Really good sharing, you're all knowledgeable, you're all prepared. Your model is amazing. I was worried at the beginning because you were doing everything and nothing on the model, but then you brought the model right in after you got hired. It was just, it was spectacular, I loved it.
Thank you.
To add to that, I think the precise thing that I enjoyed the most was seeing that how every single person added on to the previous response. So there was different levels of it, whether it would start on the left with Hillary, on the right with Paul, or the right in the middle, that you all added to the answer. And oftentimes we see it's one person that becomes the expert, and that means others are left out a little bit. And sometimes there's a lot of content questions, so they might be directed right at you, Riley, or somebody else. And the fact is that you all stepped in. You know, we can't really tell. That's the important aspect. It sets you a little bit apart from others.
Yeah, you guys did a fantastic job splitting the workload and all making sure that you were able to prove to us that you had a very good understanding of your city. It was honestly very difficult to find any criticism with your presentation skills. The one thing that I would like to point out is it's obvious you have a lot of knowledge on your city, especially in the question and answer periods, but it's really important to connect that knowledge, especially whenever you're presenting, like the industries to back your taxing and all that. It's important to bring that in, so like if judges forget to ask, and you know you have the knowledge there.
Thank you.
And when you get into a bigger room, you are gonna probably need a mic. So you practice with that, practice how you're going to pass that around. Because that becomes an issue and it will throw you off if you don't practice with a pretend mic. And even when you're speaking into a mic, you still need to project. So there were just a couple times, is it Riley? That you kind of faded away a little bit. Make sure that you're projecting all the time with confidence because you have it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pearl City.